Today on Tricrow Studios, I go over how I set up a Fender American Stratocaster, or just a Fender Stratocaster with the 2-point synchronized tremolo system. Now I do want to say I'm doing this video somewhat reluctantly, but also, hey, I bought a new Fender Stratocaster and I'm going to set it up. So over the last 4 to 6 months, I've been asked, hey, how do you set up your Strat? How do you go through this and how do you go through that? And they've asked me to make this video, and I've always thought, like, I am not the one to ask, because I set this up to how I like it to feel, and that's probably like completely the wrong way to set up a Strat or whatever. I just like a lot of tension, and I always find, you know, when you go place Strats in stores, they kind of feel plucky with no tension and certain things. So I'm sorry if I'm setting this up not the way that you would like it, or if I'm not setting up the way you would like it, or how it's properly done. Not a problem. I don't think anyone who's really going to watch this video, I wouldn't watch it. It's just more fun to do it yourself. So here we have how I typically find Stratocasters set up. So the bridge is tilted forward, majorly tilted forward. A lot of people do like that kind of a deal thing going on. But I usually find when it's like that, that, you know, perhaps the neck needs a little bit of adjusting. Different things like the saddle height needs to be adjusted. And again, there's usually not a lot of tension, so when you're bending on strings and stuff like that, to me feels a little odd. Also, when these guitars are set up like that, I don't know if it's maybe geared more towards like a rhythm player than a lead player, but usually you'll find a little bit of string buzz when you're bending, or it'll kind of bend out, it'll fret out or what have you. So yeah, definitely. You can kind of hear it's kind of fretting out. Usually at that point, if I go to the 22nd fret, it'll ring fine. It's fine. 21st fret, starting to fret out. That's usually not necessarily the neck. However, it's usually the way that the bridge is angled, and of course, the way that the saddles are set. So the saddle height on the high E is like drastically down. You do usually want, this is how I do it, you do usually want it to kind of follow the neck a little bit, so it's going to have that little bit of an arch, but not as drastic as the way that this is. Alright, so the first thing that I do here is I actually take all the strings off, because again, I'm changing it. I tried 9s for quite a while on a Strat, and it just wasn't my deal. I'm a big fan of 10 to 46, so we're going to be changing it from 9s to 10 to 46. With a lot of new guitars, I find also that the fretboard is a little dry, so I will apply a little bit of lemon oil. I won't let it sit for a long time or anything like that. Also, it's lemon scented oil. There's no one squeezed lemon into like a vat of oil. And yeah, there's a lot of people that act like you're kicking a baby or something like that if you put lemon oil on your guitar, because, you know, it's acidic. And there's also the one guy that's like, you're crazy! Any type of home friggin' remedies or anything like that, people go nuts. Just if you don't want to put lemon oil on there, don't put lemon oil on there. If you want to put it on there, do it up. Next up, I take the back plate off of the guitar. I like to keep the screws kind of like in order so they can go back in order. Does that really matter? No, but it's kind of nice in my head. But again, I want to adjust some of the tension here. So I want to bring the bridge back so it's not kind of like this. I don't usually use the tremolo arm on Strats. I usually just use them on Gretches. The reason behind that is because I overuse it. So I try not to do that. So again, I'm going to tighten the springs here. And I tend to bring it a lot closer to the body than it was, and I'll usually maintain like even turns, so I'll do like 4 turns, 4 turns, 4 turns, 4 turns, till it gets a lot closer to the body. I do find that it's, again, personal preference, that the treble side of the strings, the last 3, those ones have it a little closer to the body. It's at this point also that I'm going to take the protective film off of the guitar. I know some of you, this is really going to bother you. I've seen a lot of guitars from like the early 90s that still have the protective film on it. It's not like wholly intact, and it actually interferes with the strings. But like some people go crazy and they like it. So when they sell it, still has a protective film on it. So I'm a jerk if I'm doing this, I'm sorry. Alright, so there you go, the protective film is off. What you can do if it kind of gets stuck underneath the knob, if you wiggle the knob just a little bit, you can actually fit like a piece of cloth underneath it, and you just, once you get it underneath the knob, you can actually wrap it around and just pull lightly, and the knob will come right off. Then you can get the film that's underneath. So now I'm just going to go ahead and restring. And while I'm restringing, before I do so, I'm actually going to check and make sure that everything is set tight and not really loose. It doesn't have to be like rock tight, but finger tight is just good enough. Alright, so we now have it all strung up. I know a lot of people are going to ask me, hey, how do you string your guitar? Nothing crazy. I literally just put like 1 wrap, 1 wrap, 1 wrap, 1 wrap, 2 wraps, and 2 wraps. It's not going to come off, and the least amount of wraps is always better for tuning stability, at least I've always found. But we do have it strung up, and I have done my tugging. I have it plugged into a tuner, and the more that you do your tugging here, the more it's going to kind of release tension here, and as well take some of the, or incorporate some of the tension into the string, so it'll kind of get looser, so it'll start going flat as you're tugging. Yeah, so you kind of want to do that and then tune it. It's a Strat, so I tune it to E flat. I'm not going to show the whole tuning, that's just annoying, but what I do, because of the bridge, because it's kind of, it's tension based somewhat, I tune from the G string to the D string to the B string to the A string to the E string to the E string, and then I just keep tugging and keep doing that over and over. Okay, once it's all up to tune, I'm going to be looking again at the bridge, and right now it's ever so slightly tilted up, so I know I have to bring it back. However, I am still going to start playing. Still fretting out. So it still feels, even though it's 10 to 46 and there's a little more tension because of the springs, it still feels a little plucky, like when I'm kind of pushing right through the string. I'm not getting enough resistance, I guess you would say, in the string. So I know that my string height isn't correct, and I want to bring this back. So the 2-point bridge I really like because it's easy to adjust. So I know that I need to raise the bridge and then adjust the springs. And then once I've got it to a height that I like, then I'm going to do the individual adjusting here of the saddles. So we'll see if we can kind of get it to where I like, and then get it if we can actually not fret out. Alright, so I did complete the setup here. I do want to just explain what I did, because going over it, I noodle for a long time, and I just make sure that everything is set to the proper height to where I like it. So, take this off. So what I did, I adjusted the springs a little more. I made it a little tighter, and then I raised the 2 points here, so the bridge is actually tilted back a little bit. That's just a personal preference for myself. But what that does is it raises the saddles altogether. I don't want it too high because it looks ridiculous, and it's just better to raise the individual saddles. And then, of course, it used to be like a huge crown, which again, like that does match the fretboard itself. The fretboard is not flat; it's like this. But I actually changed that here with the saddles, so they're not obviously even, but it's not like a crazy crown. I do find that I like having my two thickest strings a little lower. I don't know why, just it's more comfortable. Now that we have the correct string height, let's test out and see if we get a little bit of fretting out. We're all good. Also of note, pickup heights. That's really, I'm going to take a little longer to set up my pickup heights. But usually I do like them not flat, but actually kind of more up higher towards the higher notes, especially on the neck pickup. The bridge I usually keep relatively flat, but the neck pickup I have more towards the higher strings, and then not so much, but a little bit more towards the higher strings for the middle pickup. So that's what I got. I didn't have to adjust the neck. Looking down the neck, it does thankfully have the ever so slightest bow in it. A lot of people go crazy. They always say it has to be a flat neck, flat neck, flat neck. Maybe that's your preference, but for most people, it has to have the ever slightest little bit of a bow in it. Otherwise, you could be kind of getting some buzz around the first fret. That usually means it's either too flat or when it has the tiniest bit of an up bow, or it has a major up bow in it. It's supposed to have a little bit of a back bow. You can call me crazy, call me kooky, call me wacky. But yeah, that's basically what I've done, and then of course I intonated it. There's no need for me to go over intonations, very easy. You just make sure that on a tuner they're the exact same note, and if it's not, you just, do your little adjustments there. So hopefully this video wasn't absolutely crazy and stupid. There was a lot of a time difference here because I really like, this is my favorite type of guitar to set up, because you can just get it ever so perfectly and just right. And it's a joy to do, and there's just a lot of noodling that I do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Here we go. Sorry, I'll probably do this when I get my my other SG, and I'll show you how I set that up as well, which you can watch it, you don't watch it, I really don't care. Thanks for watching.